Hey, so today I'm going to be talking to you about exactly how to shift your limiting beliefs extremely quickly so that you can feel confident in whatever it is that you want to start doing, whether that be making sure that you don't go back to an unhappy relationship, all the way down to showing up for your business and having that full confidence within you to know that how you're showing up, how you're becoming visible, the fact that you are being seen is something that you feel amazing about, confident about, solid about. So today, I'm actually going to talk to you about one thing that not many people address. Most people know, you probably know how to shift your limiting beliefs, but I'm going to talk to you about this one very, very important point and that our subconscious mind does that actually is probably backwards than what you think shifting beliefs is all about. But by getting to this core truth, you will be able to shift those beliefs faster and be able to release the resistance that is preventing you from naturally feeling confident in trusting in yourself. So let us begin. As you know by now, beliefs are super important because they form the blueprint of how we think, feel, and act on a daily basis. And if we don't believe in ourselves, then that really just affects what we do and how we do it, right? And our ability to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and our ability to follow through the things that we said you're going to do. So a lot of our beliefs are things that we know about consciously, and a lot of our beliefs are also stored unconsciously, beliefs that we haven't realized that are running in the background, are running at the back end, that really just form our habitual behaviors, form our default patterns, right? And this is what self-development is all about, right? Learning deep down what your beliefs are, because, beliefs stacked on top of each other forms what we perceive to be our identity, right? The beliefs that we have form the values of which we act, and then based on that, we form this thing called our personality, our identity, whatever you want to call it, right? So when we find out or become conscious of a belief that we used to have and want to shift them, a lot of the common practices right now is to just kind of examine those beliefs, right? Write what those beliefs are, and then look for a way to reframe them. That is important in a very, very small aspect, because it's not really enough to just be aware of a belief and shift them. Yes, it is important, but there's another thing that we have to do in order to really make sure that that belief doesn't come back in the future, because it's not enough to put an affirmation on top of it or just write down a new belief and talk to ourselves about it if somehow unconsciously that belief is doing something for us. That's why things like affirmations don't work or take a very, very long time to work, especially if these are affirmations that were built by someone else that's not really personalized to us, right? Let me give you an example. A very common affirmation out there is I am enough, right? You are enough, I am enough. Now, if I say that, that really does nothing to me. You heard me just say it. There's no emotional juice to it, right? I do not resonate with that affirmation at all. Me saying that is a complete waste of time because it doesn't do anything to my emotions. It's not really relevant to how I feel. But saying something like I am worthy makes me feel the feelings, and I feel that in my body, right? If I want to say, I am worthy to become a millionaire, right? That makes me feel something. But if I say I am good enough to be a millionaire, nothing happens, right? So it's the same concept, right? It's the same concept. It's a very similar state of being, right? If you feel worthy, then you can say that you also feel good enough to be whatever it is, make it be a millionaire, or I am worthy to have a healthy, happy relationship, or I am good enough to have a healthy, happy relationship. Those are very similar, but it can mean very different to each and every person. So that's why affirmations don't really work unless you make it up for yourself, which can be more effective only if you have addressed this one simple thing, which I actually already mentioned, which is, how is that limiting belief serving you? And also the things that has really shifted the way as to how I do the belief work now is not to call it limiting beliefs. Beliefs are beliefs, right? They're neutral. They are just the blueprint. They are what it is. It is a belief. It's neither limiting neither is it empowering. Those are just the beliefs, right? And when you're able to perceive it that way, then you can let go of what that belief means, meaning you are more likely to be able to shift them once you can see both sides of each belief. Because truth of the matter is, we as humans, we have this ability to feel two opposing emotions or two opposing beliefs at the same time, right? We can see how something really helps us and benefits us at the same time. That same very thing can also be very, very detrimental. For example, something like what's something that is normally good? Let's say broccoli, right? Broccoli, most people would think that is a very good vegetable to have. It's got tons of nutrients. It is very good for you. It's good for your brain. So there's a lot of serves in that. However, it can be limiting if you are someone who doesn't do too well with your digestion. Like your digestion just doesn't like broccoli. Your digestive system just doesn't tolerate it as well, right? Or if you have too much broccoli, then you're gonna just have the stankiest farts, right? Although it is good for you, it does sort of limit you in some way or another. If you start seeing beliefs as simply as that, as having them both at the same time, then it's much easier to gain that clarity, because then you can choose. And once you can choose, you no longer feel stuck to that belief, right? And so when you're able to see how a used to be limiting belief has served you, that is going to make a big impact as to how you reprogram your mind to choose different beliefs. Because truth of the matter is, our unconscious mind, the reason why it's holding on to that belief is because somehow it thinks that it is benefiting us. Somehow it thinks that it is very useful for us from sometime in the past, right? I'll give you a very simple example. I'm trained in hypnotherapy, and one of the things that you can help using hypnotherapy is something like smoking, right? We all know logically that smoking is no good, but the reason that person is smoking is not because they know that it's bad for them or that it causes cancer and can kill them. Somehow their mind is locking on to the fact that smoking right now is good for me because of A, B, C, D, all the way to the Z, whatever reason that particular person's subconscious mind has locked off that belief as, or that behavior as. Somehow subconscious thinks that smoking is good. It's the same for any beliefs that we want to change, right? For example, there is a very common belief that my clients have, is that somehow their self-worth is related or linked to what relationships they have, their relationship status, right? Somehow they've really attached their self-worth to their previous relationship. So my clients are people who have left relationships, who have separated with their partners and now want to peacefully move on. One of the reasons why it is difficult for them to move on is somehow they have attached a lot of their self-worth so much to that relationship. And without that relationship, they don't feel worthy anymore. Because my clients also not only are high achievers that, society we've been conditioned to tick all the boxes, right? To have a relationship by XYZ whatever age, right? And so that's one of the reasons. But at the same time, my clients also have codependent tendencies where they have given so much to that relationship. They have dedicated so much of themselves into that relationship. And so once that relationship ends, they go through this internal conflict, right? That is quite challenging to manage. And that's what I help them with, helping them manage that so that they can move on, so that they no longer attach their self-worth to that previous relationship. And so what we do is we really explore why it is important for them to think that they are worthy because of the old relationship. And one of the things that come up is the fact that they feel they have received a lot of validation of their worth from being in the relationship. So a lot of them are also people pleasers, right? So it serves them and it benefits them to be in the relationship because they are able to help their partner out. They are able to take responsibility for them. They are able to do stuff for them, and that makes them feel significant. So that is why they're able to still keep that belief of them being worthy, being in that relationship. And so when we're really able to explore that, exactly how their mind has linked all of these things very complex, in a very complex manner, and we shift that internally, as well as add the physiological aspects of healing the untrapped emotions, healing the trauma within from being in that relationship, then that's how they are able to peacefully move on. Not just move on, but move on and be at peace, be at ease, so that they are able to look forward to the future instead of just going day by day, being robotic and numb, right? That's really not a way to live a meaningful life. But that really comes from the fact that we explore the benefits, we explore that unconscious payoff. Why is it that they attach so much to that relationship? And once we're able to really get to the root of that, then they are able to now reattach that self-worth and give it back to themselves. Because when they're able to give themselves that self-worth, guess what? They no longer need that old partner. They no longer need that old, potentially toxic and unhealthy relationship too, because they can give themselves their own needs, and that makes them more available to people in their life who will treat them how they deserve, because they are badasses and they're very smart women. And so for them to be able to see that is really the work we do. But that won't happen until we actually dig deep as to why that behavioral pattern is there. So when you're doing shifting the limiting beliefs, ask yourself what the benefits are for you keeping that. And you may not want to see that at first, but there is a reason why you're keeping it, because if there was no reason to keep it, you wouldn't have it, right? Like kind of like that example I said earlier about smoking, right? If there's no reason for you to smoke, then smoking would be easy. But for most smokers, it's not, because there is still a benefit that is still unconscious to them that is preventing them from naturally just stopping the cigarettes, right? And so I hope this made a lot of sense. I hope this helped you. I hope that this got you thinking a lot. Make sure if you have any questions to leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you soon.